I'll move my computer screen so you'll be, or my camera, so you'll be able to see me a little bit better. I'll keep this nearby. And we will get started. Let's get started standing up, actually. We don't do that too often, but we're gonna like shake it all out so we can move right away. So come to the top of your mat. So just the very, very top of your mat. And you're gonna stand up nice and tall. Take your arms down along your sides and spread your fingers nice and wide apart. And we call this mountain pose. So imagine that you are like the tallest mountain, or you're standing so tall. Take one hand to the top of your head. Awesome. Now imagine you press the top of your head into your hands. Stand up so, so tall. A little bit taller. Take a big breath in. And then release that arm down. Come back to mountain pose. Now, as you inhale, start to reach your hands all the way up and overhead. This is like tall mountain, we call it. Maybe even start to play with balance and pick your heels up off the ground. So come to your tiptoes. Now it really starts to help if you look at one thing in front of you, one thing that is not moving. Keep your eyes on that thing. Take one more big breath in. And then come back to mountain pose, arms down along your sides. Awesome job. Now shrug your shoulders as you breathe in. Squeeze them up towards your ears. And then breathe all the way out, let them fall. Now bring your hands to your belly, both hands right to your stomach. And then think of that breathing ball, right? So it gets bigger on the inhale when you breathe in, and it gets smaller as you breathe out. So keep your hands on your belly. Stand up nice and tall. Very good. Take a deep breath in. Big breath out. One more like that. Breathe all the way in. All the way out. Now raise your hand if you could feel your belly getting bigger as you breathe in and smaller as you breathe out. Did you feel it? Yeah? Awesome. We're going to do it in a few different poses. Okay. So not just standing, but we're going to add in a little bit more movement. Okay. So the most important thing you do in yoga is breathe. It doesn't matter what your poses look like. It doesn't matter if you fall, right? Doesn't matter if it's hard, if it's easy. Most important thing is if you're breathing. So take a deep breath in, reach all the way up, maybe even look up at your fingers. And then breathe all the way out. See if you can fold in half here and touch your toes. You can bend your knees and then start to sway your arms side to side. We call this ragdoll pose, like a ragdoll that was just like hanging or slumped over. Let your arms hang, let your head hang. And then start to stomp your feet here, like add in your feet. So stomp one foot, then the other. Just sway side to side for 3, 2, 1, and slowly roll all the way back up to standing. Take a deep breath in, reach your arms all the way back up, and then start to bend your knees, sit like you're sitting in a chair. We call this chair pose. Bend your knees. Bend your knees. Keep reaching your hands up towards the sky. So nice. Take one more big breath in. And then fold in half, touch your toes. Breathe out. Touch your knees as you inhale. And then bring your hands down, step back to what we call a plank pose. So strong. Take one more breath in here. And then lower all the way down to your belly, right on your stomach here. So point your toes back. And then take a breath in to lift your chest up. Here's your up dog or your cobra pose. And exhale, lower all the way down. Let's do that one more time. Big breath in, rise up. Big breath out to lower. Now, as you come back, I want you to find child's pose. So you're going to curl up into this tiny little ball. You're bending your knees, bring your forehead to your mat, close your eyes. And this is a really nice place where you can pause and you can take 3 big breaths. It's also just a nice calm place to be. So stay here for 3. So breathing in and out through your nose if you can, 2. Last 1. And then shift your way forward onto hands and knees. So you're coming into what we call tabletop pose. So your back is almost like a table. Like if you were to set a drink or something like a book on top of your back, it wouldn't fall off. So make it nice and flat. And then we're going to do a little bit of work here. Try to balance. Send your right leg or one leg, doesn't matter which one, behind you. And then if you really want to challenge your opposite hand, reach it forward. You can balance here. 3. You might wobble a little bit. That's okay. Keep breathing. 2, 1. And then drop your hand and your knee down. Come back to tabletop pose. And we're going to learn 2 more poses here. Start to lift your chest up. Drop your belly down. Maybe even lift your chin, lift your face. This is cow pose. And then start to round your upper back and drop your head like an angry cat. This is cat pose. Do that one more time. Deep breath into cow. Exhale, round into cat. Nice. And then come back to tabletop pose. See if you remember. Now, your other leg, the leg you didn't do before, send that back. Let it float. See if you can balance here. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, opposite hand, reach it forward. Take a big breath in, big breath out. One more deep inhale, back to tabletop pose. See if you remember. Now let's see if you both remember cow pose. Awesome. And then cat pose. Now, tuck your toes under, lift your bottom up and back. Your favorite, downward facing dog. Now here you can start to bend your knees, shake your hips side to side, feel your back stretch, feel your legs stretch. You might even shake your head yes and no. And then on your next big breath in, I want you to rise up to your tiptoes, lift your heels up. Start to bend your knees and look towards your hands. And then on the count of 3, I want you to hop your feet to your hands. Like you were hopping into a puddle. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Hop forward. Touch your knees. Good job. Touch your toes. Awesome. Stand all the way up. Reach your hands all the way up to the sky. And then bring your hands together right in front of your chest. Now, we're going to do all of that 1 breath per movement. So that means just a little bit faster. But you can, of course, follow along. Are you ready? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready. Thumbs up. Awesome. Oh, I love it. Okay, all the thumbs. Stand at the top of your mat. Find mountain pose. Let's see if we remember all of that. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Shrug your shoulders to your ears. Squeeze them up. And then big breath out. Let them drop down. Reach your hands all the way up. Bend your knees. Sit back into chair pose. Yes, 1 big breath in here. Touch your toes. Breathe out. Fold in half. Breathe in. Touch your knees. Breathe out, plank pose. Nice and strong. Stay here. Lower all the way to your belly. Cobra pose. Lift up. Lower down. Pose. Roll into a tiny ball. Stay here. 1 breath in. Breath out. Tabletop pose. Send 1 leg back behind you. The other hand forward. Try and balance. Take 1 breath in. And then drop it down. And switch. Other leg back. Other hand forward. Big breath in. Drop it down. Cow pose. Cat pose. Downward facing dog pose. Now we're gonna add on here. See if you can lift one leg up in down dog pose. So 3-legged dog. So you only have 3 legs on the ground. One is lifted. Take one big breath in. Lower that foot. Switch legs. Other leg lifts. Oh, nice. Let it lower. Now rise up to your toes. Look to your hands on the count of 3. You know where you're going. Hopping forward. 3, 2, 1. Like you're hopping into a puddle. Touch your knees. Touch your toes. Now slowly roll all the way up. Mountain pose. Like so slow. Your head is the last thing to come up. Reach your hands all the way up and overhead. And bring your hands to your heart center. You did all of that. Excellent job. Now, keep your hands together right in front of your chest. See if you can pick up one foot and bring it to the other leg. Now, look at that one thing in front of you that isn't moving. It helps you to balance. As you balance on one leg in tree pose, maybe you even grow your branches and reach your hands up. If you want a little challenge, maybe even look up towards the ceiling. Try not to fall. One more big breath in, and then come back to mountain pose. Let's shake it out before we move to the other side. Wiggle your arms. Wiggle your legs. Wiggle in a circle 3 times. 3, 2, 1. Mountain pose. My goodness. Do we think we can balance after that? Bring your hands together. Whew. Let's take one big breath first. Big breath in. Calm breath out. So good. And then we'll switch. Pick your other leg up. Find tree pose. So the cool thing that yoga teaches us is that we can be super silly and we can do things that like make us feel like we have more energy, which is awesome. But then we can always calm down by using our breath. Maybe reach your hands up. Use your breath to focus, maybe even look up to the ceiling. Take one more big breath in. Awesome. Mountain pose. Excellent job. Take one big inhale through your nose and then stick out your tongue as you breathe out. It feels silly, but we call it lion's breath. So take a deep breath in. Let's do it again. Inhale through your nose. Stick out your tongue. It seems like you're having a lot of fun. Let's do one more, even bigger. Big breath in through your nose. Stick out your tongue. Excellent job. All right. Because I think you guys are doing such a wonderful job learning so quickly, let's learn 3 warrior poses. So there are 3 different types: warrior 1, warrior 2, and warrior 3. Any guesses what warrior 1 looks like? Yes, you can make up your own. What do you think a warrior pose would look like? Ooh, there we go. Warrior 1. Excellent. So you step 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, and then reach your hands all the way up towards the sky. Face the front. Like you're a strong warrior here. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. Now we'll find warrior 2. I want you to open up to the side. Your arms are out like the letter T. Yeah, mom knows what's going on. Look at her. She's got Her front knee bent, arms reaching, and it's almost like you're surfing on a surfboard. Like you're surfing. Awesome. Bend your front knee, look over your front hand. Excellent job. Come back to mountain pose. Let's see if you remember. Take a deep breath in. Long breath out. Now, warrior 3 is probably the trickiest of all. I want you to bring your hands to your hips. Step 1 foot forward. Lift your back leg up. And then reach your hands forward like Superman. See if you can balance here for 3, 2, 1. Come back to mountain pose. So nice. Shrug your shoulders. Breathe in. Big breath out. All right, let's start to come to the ground. Reach your hands all the way up and overhead. Big breath in. Now here you go. Bend your knees. Sit back into chair. Now play with your balance. See if you can lift your heels up. Come to your tippy toes. And then slowly lower. Sit. Lower. 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 Now without using your hands. Pose. You're going to land on your seat and lift your feet up. Not to use your hands. Awesome. Now, row to one side. Row to the other side. Row as fast as you can for 5, 4, 3. Fall back 2, 1. New pose. You're in a canoe. Long. Take a big breath in. Lie down on your back. Whew. Bend your knees and plant your feet right on the ground. Yes. Now keep your arms down along your sides, and I want you to lift your bottom up off the ground. Everything else stays. Finding bridge pose. So it's almost like your back is a bridge. Lifting it up off the ground. See if you can hold it for 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower back down. Pause here. Bring your hands to your belly. Close your eyes. Now, like you did before when you were standing up, I want you to notice how your belly gets a little bit bigger as you breathe in, and then smaller as you breathe out. Do that 2 more times. Breathe in. Breathe out. Last one. Excellent job. Now hug your knees into your chest like you're a tiny little ball. For a moment, rock side to side. And then start to rock front to back, like you were going to come back into boat pose, but you're just going to land in a seat, like crisscross applesauce. Awesome. Sit up nice and tall. Hands to your knees. Now, a lot of times you might think yoga is about just sitting still, right? You might think of someone who's meditating. You might hear that word before. And yes, sometimes we do sit nice and still, just like this. Close your eyes. But oftentimes we get to like have fun too. We get to move around. But right now, I want you to see if you can stay as still as you can, almost like a statue, right? So still. Your eyes are closed for 10, 9, sit up nice and tall, 8, 7, 6, maybe you even take deep breaths, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Start to open your eyes and raise your hand if you feel even calmer than you did before you started yoga class. I see a hand. That's good. Maybe 2. Great. 3. Awesome. I know I feel a little bit calmer than when I started, right? So just moving our bodies, but then also breathing and being a little bit more still than we were before can be really helpful. Go ahead and take your legs out in front of you. Give them a little bit of a shake. Get all the sillies out, like wiggle your toes, roll your ankles, roll your wrists, wiggle your fingers. And we call this sandwich pose a lot. So I want you to think of your favorite sandwich that you would make yourself if you went to the kitchen and you opened the fridge and there was any food that you wanted inside the fridge to make a sandwich with. What would it be? You can share with each other your favorite things, what you would put in a sandwich. For me, peanut butter and bananas for sure. I would put that in my sandwich. So I want you to just like pretend you put all of that in your sandwich. Now you have one piece of bread, you have the other piece of bread, and you're gonna have to put them together. So you take a deep breath in, sit up really tall, and then breathe out, fold your sandwich in half. See if you can stay here. You can bend your knees if you want to make it a little bit easier. Yeah, make it feel better. For 3, 2, 1. Now sit back up. I want you to take your feet a little bit wider apart. Like you were gonna like cut your sandwich in half, right? Like it's that half sort of sandwich. You're gonna do the same thing as before. So think about all the favorite things that you would put in your sandwich. They're all there. Now reach your hands up. And you have to fold your sandwich in half. Maybe reach towards your toes. It can be a little tricky, and that's okay, but the best thing and the most important thing we do is breathe. Remember, for 3, 2, 1. Now sit all the way up. One final tricky pose. Take your feet in front of you, plant your feet like you did in bridge pose, but you're sitting up. Awesome. Take your hands behind you. Here you go. Last tricky pose, crab pose. Lift your bottom up. Look up to the ceiling. Hold it for 3, 1. Slowly release back down. Now take your legs back out in front of you for a moment. I want you to pretend you're a robot. Sit up tall, but your hands come out in front of you like a robot. Now you have to be so slow. Look behind you. That's where you're going. I want you to slowly lower your back for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Arms overhead. Point your toes forward. Take a nice long stretch. And then take your arms down along your sides. So it's almost like you're in mountain pose, but you get to lie down and relax. So if it helps, you can put a pillow under your head, or you can just lie down and be still. And like we did when we were in a seat, close your eyes. And then see if you can take the biggest breath in right here. Breathe all the way into the top. All the way out to the bottom. You get empty. And then right away, see if you can be nice and still. So you ask your body to calm down. And you tell your body to relax. I'm going to try and relax every part of our body from our toes all the way to the tip of our head, right? The top of our head. So see if you can start by relaxing your toes. Tell them to be still. Relax your legs, your knees, and your hips. Relax your belly. Relax your chest. Relax your shoulders, your elbows, your arms, and even your hands, the tips of your fingers. Let them relax. Relax your neck. Relax your mouth. Even relax your ears and your nose. Relax your eyes. And relax even the top of your head. And so every part of your body, from your toes to your head, is still, calm, like you're giving it all a break. And they get to relax. See if your whole body can stay still for 10. Maybe you even take deep breaths like before. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Now stay where you are. See if your whole body can stay still and only wiggle your toes. Only your toes. And then start to wiggle your fingers. Only your toes, only your fingers. Like you wake them up. Now you wiggle your toes, your fingers. See if you can wiggle your nose. Wake that up. So only your toes, your fingers, and your nose. So nice. See if you can roll your ankles. Roll your wrists. Reach your arms over your head. Take a big stretch, like you were yawning, but with your body, right? Like a big body yawn. Like you were just waking up in the morning. And start to bend your knees. Roll to your side. And sit all the way back up. Come back to like a crisscross applesauce. Like you're sitting up nice and tall. Awesome. Hands on your knees. Bring one hand to the top of your head like you did before when we first started. See if you can press the top of your head into your hand. Sit up so tall. Yes, and then lower that hand down. We're going to take 3 big breaths to end. And I'll use the breathing ball, but you can also put your hand on your belly to feel like it bigger and smaller. So 3 big breaths in. Breathe out. Last 2, breathe in and out. Last one, breathe in, even bigger, biggest one yet. And out. Now reach your hands all the way up and overhead. Reach, reach, reach. Bring your hands together and bring them down in front of your chest. So at the end of our yoga class, we always say the same word. And it might sound like a silly word, but it has a very important meaning. And the word is namaste. Can you guys say namaste? Namaste. Now, the word namaste is just a word that reminds us to be a little bit kinder to ourselves, right? So we take the time to calm down, to move our bodies, to feel a little bit better. But then we're also kind to others, right? Because we are kind to ourselves. So